This weekend at Kohl's, take an extra 15% off, buying great deals on tops for her. Save big on Levi's denim and get 20 to 40% off.
Good morning, everybody. Jim Feist here in Las Vegas, and I'm joined by Hank Goldberg. Hank, it's been several months since we did a podcast. The world has really changed, and well, at least we have sports back, and it's great to have sports back.
Yeah, I wonder what it's like being outside. I've been sitting in the house since the early March, and but I've been watching all the sports, and that's how I pass my time. Yeah,
we're all kind of quarantined or semi-quarantined, trying to stay safe.
Yep,
it's a little nuts. Well, we got a lot going on. We got a basketball game today. We've got the Heat won last night, and I know you had that in the over. That was congratulations. Tonight we got Denver at the Lakers, or not at the Lakers, Denver against the Lakers.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we'll have another game with Boston and Miami. And then, of course, we'll get to whatever the finals will be. We got baseball going into the playoffs, which will start next week. And then we got the NFL and college football as well.
I don't like the way the Lakers look. They're lazy. They don't get back on defense, and LeBron looks tired. And he's not picking up the team the way he has in the past. And I think they got problems. They should have lost the game before last too.
Yeah.
And this Denver team has got some players.
They really do, and it could be a great surprise. I mean, Denver against the Heat in the final, or I guess Boston still has a chance. They have to figure out how to beat the Heat.
Boston's got no chance. They're down 3-1, and I think that Spoelstra has outcoached the Celtics in every game, and even towards the end of the game in the fourth quarter, when it looked like the Celtics, when they're after the star player didn't score in the first half, he was on fire in the second half. But in the last 2 minutes of the game, the Heat shut him down, and the Heat has balance, and they have. I think they just have too much for that team, and I think the matchup has been great. They've only lost 2 games in this whole postseason.
Yeah, that's amazing. And one of them, I think, was in double overtime.
Yeah.
It's an amazing story. Well, you want to talk about some pro football? I know
Sure.
I know you really got some great insight into the pro football teams. You know more about the ins and outs than most people do. We have the Raiders coming off that big win here in Las Vegas, which is great for the city, great for the Raiders. And they looked good doing it, and the Saints looked a little out of it. And I don't know if Breeze has reached the end. Well, we all reach the end of the line eventually, but he might be he's over the the horizon, I guess. But they go to the Patriots, and the Patriots have looked incredibly good with Cam Newton.
Yeah, the Patriots, this is a tough spot, although Gruden's done a heck of a job with this team. But that game last week, Carr was going against what was supposed to be a strong defense. They never got close to him, never touched him. I don't know what happened well, first of all, the guy in their secondary was brutal. They kept picking on him. Anytime a tight end can catch 14 passes for the yardage that Wally did, is inexcusable for a so-called high-rated defense to allow that to happen. They never made an adjustment. And I think that Peyton, who's famous for this, he's going to change coordinators. I think Allen is in trouble. And I was surprised when they were down by 1 touchdown in the game, and they came up with an interception, and they did nothing with the ball. At that point in the game, and I know that Breeze has been your guy for so long, they got Jameis Winston, and at least the guy can throw the ball downfield. I would have changed. I would have made a change. You got to do something when you're in a game like that and you're getting your butt kicked. And you've got to do something dramatic. And I thought that Peyton was not above doing something dramatic. And the question is, how long does he go with Breeze? Because Breeze is awful. I mean, he has no accuracy on his passes at all. He's no threat to do anything. And he's easy to defend because you don't have to do anything downfield. You just have to, you just have to close off the lanes on the short passing game. And I think he's done. And, he's got a decision to make. How long is he going to go on like that? But I thought that as shocking as Breeze's performance was, I thought the defense was just as shocking because Carr is not a top 5 quarterback, and he looked like one. He just played catch against this defense. Their secondary is really bad. Now they're coming up against a team this week who's averaging 42 points a game.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, Aaron Rodgers has been absolutely red hot. Aaron. I mean, they won 13 games last year. They're not, they really can't be overlooked. I know nobody gives them credit, but they did win 13. Those 2 bad losses against San Francisco last year, I think, tainted that 13-win record. But really, in reality, they've been pretty good for the last couple of years, winning-wise.
Well, they've got top receivers. They've got a good tight end. They've got a good running back. They've got a couple of good running backs, and so they have balance. And their defense isn't all that bad. And this was supposed to be a great matchup. We'll see if it is or not. I don't trust the Saints. Going home. But they were a great road team going into last week. They had covered and won 7 straight games on the road. But the question is, what can Breeze do? And the look on his face, his eyes were wide on the close-ups. He looked scared.
Well, we'll see. I mean, this is a big game for them, bounce back. I mean, they didn't look all that sharp against Tampa. They certainly looked, like you said, last week. And this is a big game. I mean, you look right at it, and you look like the Packers can go in there and beat them. So this is a big game for Breeze and the Saints to turn it around a little bit, for sure. And the Patriots, I mean, Cam Newton.
By the way, Green Bay looks like they've got a walk in the park in that division now. Minnesota. Did you see Cousins' numbers last week going into the fourth quarter? His quarterback rating was 0.0.
Unbelievable. What has happened to that team?
Well, he has collapsed. I mean, he looks terrible. That's number one. Number two, they miss stealing. Number three, their running game, they haven't been able to run the ball because they've been so far behind in their first 2 games. And there's another defense that underwent a lot of changes. And now they're screaming for the coach's head in Minnesota. But they wound up with so many new starters on defense. And, maybe they just needed a preseason to get these guys ready. I don't know, but they look awful. There's another team that, that had great defenses over the last few years, and they had no defense whatsoever last week against a team that, by the way, had a quarterback who is a turnover machine.
Yeah, you're right. Absolutely right. Well, the Minnesota lost some defensive players as well, but they also traded away Diggs, who's doing very well.
I said Thielen. I meant Diggs. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, Diggs is doing pretty well in Buffalo.
Yes, he is. He's doing very well.
Yeah, it's interesting. O'Brien got rid of Hopkins. He's doing really well in Arizona as well. The teams that traded away these great wide receivers are 0-2 each, and the teams they went to are 2-0 each.
Yeah, well, Arizona, I think right now is as good a team as there is. I think Arizona could be the best bet of the week. They're playing Detroit. Detroit comes in there with a terrible secondary, giving up 42 points to Green Bay. Their road record, they've lost, I think, 11 straight games under Patricia. They have no pass rush whatsoever. Their cornerbacks, they're down 2 out of the 3 starting corners, top 3 corners. And now they come in against Murray, who is outstanding not just as a passing quarterback, but as his numbers are incredible. He completes 67% of he was 26 out of 38 for 286 yards passing, and he ran for 67 yards last week. And Kingsbury's done a great job. He's 12-5-1 as the coach of that team. So, and they're going to be playing that up-tempo game of theirs against a Detroit defense that can't keep up with them. I think they're going to win that game by 20 points.
You probably will. I mean, when you start talking about Detroit, you start bringing up an issue that I have, that there's some coaches in the NFL that just don't look like they should be in the position they're in. Patricia has done a terrible job there.
Yep.
That Dan Quinn at Atlanta I don't know why he wasn't replaced after that Super Bowl fiasco.
He did a very good job with that team last year. I think they won 8 of their last 10 games. And they came out this year, and I don't know what happened to their defense, but they put up 39 points against Dallas, and I still think that there's hope for that team.
Well, they play the Chicago Bears this week. That's a big turnaround game for them because Chicago's coming in flying high off their couple of wins, and
Chicago has no shot in that game. They're going on to a fast track with Trubisky as their quarterback, and that's a hopeless situation for them.
Are you trying to tell me that you're not a Trubisky fan? Is that what you're saying?
He's okay in certain situations, but he's going into artificial turf on an indoor field where he's going up against a defense that somehow let a game get away from him last week. But Quinn, who was a defensive coordinator with Seattle, actually they were raving about him last year because Ryan had done such a great job at the end of last season, and they had played well on the road. And I think they finished up their season 6-2.
They did. They started off terrible, and they ended up good. They absolutely did. And by
the way, they've got one problem this week, and that is their top receiver is hurting a little bit. I don't know if he's going to play or not. But aside from him, possibly being out, they've got Gurley at the running back position now, so they've got some balance there. And they also have Ridley, who's tremendous, and Hurst, and he's got plenty of weapons. I mean, the week before last, he threw for 500 yards with 3 receivers having 100 yards or better.
There's never been a question about Matt Ryan, his ability and to move the teams up and down the field and score. He's always been, he should have had a better overall career. He just has not really had the support around him, but he's a great quarterback. He's got tremendous talent. Came out of Boston College, correct?
Yeah.
There any other big surprises there's a lot of surprises. Houston lost Hopkins. They don't look very good so far. But they started the season off against the 2 best teams in football in the Chiefs and the Ravens.
They don't have an easy go of it this week either. They're playing Pittsburgh.
No.
On the road. I think the best game of the week is Kansas City at Baltimore in the Monday night game. I'll be anxious to see what happens there. I think Baltimore is superior. But You've got Dallas, Seattle. That's a pretty good game. Seattle, Russell Wilson, since Pete Carroll decided to turn him loose, he's thrown 9 touchdown passes in 2 games. Their defense is somewhat questionable, but not as good as they were. I want to see what Tampa Bay does against Denver on the road this week, and we'll see how good Brady is. There's a lot of interesting things going on. The Chargers are going to play that quarterback again this week against Carolina. And there's the 2 New York teams, both in trouble. Philadelphia is starting to get some people healthy. So it's going to be an interesting week to see what goes on. The Rams, who have been great on the East Coast, for some reason, they were going to stay on the East Coast last week because they had 2 games on the East Coast, but they had to go back to Los Angeles for some reason. So they had to travel back and forth, and now they come back and play Buffalo. This is a big step up for Buffalo because Buffalo's first 2 games were against 2 pretty bad teams, and now they got to play a real good defense. We'll see what happens there.
Yeah, the Rams, I think they might have gotten caught up in the COVID protocols and couldn't stay for some reason. I know they
they were supposed to go to West Virginia and stay at the Greenbrier, I think, and there were some issues with that.
What did San Francisco do? I thought they went there.
Oh, maybe that was San Francisco, but I think the Rams were going to go to Florida or someplace.
It's a little bit of mess out there. I mean, the COVID thing is, kind of scary for a lot of people, and there's a lot of rules and regulations now too. What is your opinion of Miami moving to Tua more quickly than they have? They're thinking about it, or is there a plan?
Miami doesn't have a plan. But I'll tell you, their quarterback last week against Buffalo had a good second half. I think he threw 3 touchdown passes, although Buffalo had gone into a soft defense, so that might be overlooked with that factor. But Miami can score, and they're going against a Jacksonville team who doesn't have a very good pass defense tonight.
No, actually, both teams are ranked near the bottom in pass defense this year. And
it should be a high-scoring game. And
Gardner Minshew, is he? This guy's got a lot of moxie, and he's played very well.
Yep, and he can run with the ball as well as throw the pass. Miami's defense is awful, and Buffalo. When Miami started to score, Buffalo, just went down the field on them and scored again. Josh Allen is really good.
He's really become more accurate on his deep balls, and of course Diggs is. I guess they're meshing up very well.
Yeah, but they have 2 linebackers out this week, as they did last week, by the way.
Right. Philadelphia Eagles with Wentz, what is going on with them? They look very bad so far.
Well, they had 10 starters hurt on both sides of the ball, combined. They had the whole offensive line was down, all their key players, all their top receivers. The secondary was all beat up. They had an incredible number of injuries. Now they're starting to get some guys back, but they couldn't protect Wentz at all. I think he got sacked 8 times 2 weeks ago.
He did.
He's been a punching bag. I think he could come back and have a big game this week because they're starting to get some people healthy.
Yeah, they're playing the Bengals, rookie quarterback, but Burrow has looked pretty good so far this year as a rookie.
He's looked okay. Last week he had these long drives against defenses that went into prevents, and let's see what happens when he gets into a real game.
Yeah, it's a young team. for sure. And the Cleveland Browns, who everybody thought was going to have a great year, they came back with a win last week after the first week. But they played the Ravens in the first week, and the Ravens are pretty good. They're playing Washington Football Team. It's kind of unusual name, huh? Never came up with a name.
Yeah. I'll tell you something about Cleveland. They're pretty good. I mean, they've got decent defense. They've got real good receivers. And I like their quarterback, and I think they're gonna be okay this year.
Well, a lot of people gave them a lot of credit going in. I think the over and under on the wins was 9, wasn't it?
Yeah,
that's a pretty good number.
I think that it's within reach for them.
Yeah, it probably. I mean, it is within reach. You don't expect them to win at the Ravens week 1 anyway, so they should get their second win this week. And that's a pretty good start going forward. Well, Hank,
Jackson's numbers are incredible, and where he's really improved is in his long-range passing game. They've done a great job with him. He's been very well coached, and they are a good. I think they're a lot better than Kansas City right now. We'll see.
Yeah, that's going to be a hell of a game Monday night, no question. We got some good games late. I mean, the Packers, Saints, the Dallas Cowboys, Seattle. They're good games, and Denver, of course, is coming in with a backup quarterback. Then the Monday night game just is classic. That's a classic matchup. Hank, it's good to do another podcast with you. It's been a long time. Good luck this weekend. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we sign off?
Yeah, next week I have to get up at the crack of dawn to do the ESPN show on Thursday because it's the baseball playoffs are on ESPN, and so our show is going to be on at 8 in the morning Las Vegas time.
Well, we'll have to rearrange this one then because
we won't. I'll be done quickly with that.
Oh, really? Okay. Anything you want to say about baseball? I mean, it is coming into the playoffs. Is there anything you want to talk about there?
The Yankees are playing great right now. Houston got a blow with their pitching staff. I'm not a big fan of the Dodgers right now. I just everybody thinks they're a cinch. I'm not so sure.
Well, congratulations to the Tampa Bay Rays. They won in the East this year and had a good season. And they had a lot of injuries to their pitching staff, but they made it through.
Yeah. But the Yankees have gotten hot at the right time. So.
Oh, the Yankees! What did they knock off 10 straight? I mean, I don't know how many home runs did they hit in that short stretch. I mean, they were hitting 5 home runs a game.
Yeah,
it's hard to beat teams that can do that.
Yeah,
it's going to be interesting, Hank. I look forward to next week, and have a good weekend.
All right, Jim. It's good to be back with you.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye-bye.